Hello, this is Tom, aka Gedeon here for Tabletop Tap Room. And I'm going to be reporting on a legal matter. It's a legal matter that actually intersects between three different cases. So you've got a libel case in the middle in New York State, you've got a bankruptcy case coming in from this side, and you've got the WotC's trademark squatting case flying in, and they all three are coming together and going to smash in the middle and explode. In fact, some other vlogger who's not been reporting on these cases for a while just reported and did a video. And it would be none other than Mr. Erik Tenkar. Erik Tenkar has not been able to report because he is being sued by New TSR, the Dungeon Hobby Shop, and Justin Lanassa. So how is it that he was able to report on this? Well, one of the things that happens in a bankruptcy case is an estate gets created. And in this particular bankruptcy case, because there is an understanding that there could possibly be fraud, there could be negligent actions on the parts of parties involved, lawyers have been appointed to oversee the estate. And they're there. They can actually take action and sue anyone who was involved in New TSR who committed fraud or negligence and cost New TSR money. So one of the things that has now happened is that these lawyers have said, yeah, we don't want any part in those court cases. We do not want to be suing those people in those court cases, principally the WotC's trademark squatting case and the libel case against Erik Tenkar. So they've withdrawn, and Erik never counter-sued smartly on the part of his lawyers, as I understand it. And WotC has probably said, yeah, sure, we'll drop any thing that we have against them and just keep it in favor. Well, because, TSR is bankrupt. The assets that it has are, you could just, like a pot to piss in, really. And so, sure, they'll keep their case against the museum, which does represent it's got a collection housed there. So that's some assets. And against Lanassa, who's got a lot of assets, 19, 20 properties, about 10 of them in his name, 10 of them in him and his wife's name. He's got the little armored car, the little ferret there. That's an asset that could be sold. He's bought some Larry Elmore artwork. Those are certainly assets that could be sold. Although those assets might actually be New TSR assets. I think that needs to be investigated because they were purchased for New TSR. So, if the artwork's hanging in his house, the estate could certainly go after him for that. So WotC's happy to pursue that. Now, with New TSR having been no longer suing Erik, he is free to report on New TSR. And he read this document. This was filed. This turned up in Pacer yesterday. And so he read the document very blandly with no inflection. And he, did that so he couldn't be accused of putting inflection. Where was discussing the Lanassa parties, except he just translated that to other parties. And he just reported on it. Here's the thing. And you make your judgment as you see fit, is kind of how he ended the video. But what is the implication of Erik doing this video? The implication, because Erik read the text, I'm not going to reread it. So I'm just going to cover the implications. What is the implication? The implication is that Erik's back, baby. Erik's back. He's back with a vengeance. Back with a silver bullet. Erik's back. He's not completely back. But the implication is that this case is crumbling around what says in here, the Lanassa parties. It's crumbling around the ears of the Lanassa parties, and it's falling down. London bridges are falling down. They're falling down on somebody's head. So the very first implication here of this news is that Erik's coming back, baby, and he's coming back with a vengeance. And very soon, he's going to be doing videos about the criminal in North Carolina. The criminal that Erik produced a certified county record. And Lanassa's like, I'm not a criminal. Look, the FBI database doesn't show me to be a criminal. Well, sure, you didn't get fingerprinted in North Carolina because the sheriff's department has some discretion about whether or not they want to fingerprint somebody. Maybe because you were running for office and they knew you were running for office as a politician, they just decided not to fingerprint you, a little quid pro quo, because, if this guy gets in the office, we don't want it coming back to haunt us. So they didn't, that's why he didn't get fingerprinted. Maybe it was a little, I scratch your back type of thing. I don't know. I only speculate. But he's trying to stand by the FBI database saying, well, see, I've not been charged with anything. But Erik's produced a certified county record that shows that he was convicted, that he spent time in jail, that he paid a fine, and he was let out on probation. I mean, that kind of makes you a criminal. And that's now public record, part of this court case. And so very soon, at some point, you will see Erik referring to a criminal in North Carolina, and he'll be referring to that criminal by name, because this court case, this libel case, does not hold water, and it's coming crashing down around. London bridges are crashing down on somebody's head with this court case. That's the number one implication. The number two implication is, let's go to a little screenshot of the something from the order. And here it says, now therefore, it is hereby ordered and adjudicated and decreed that the automatic stay does not apply to any action Wizards wishes to take with respect to Lanassa or the museum. Note, no TSR in that statement. TSR has been removed from the lawsuit. Because Lanassa is no longer overseeing TSR. TSR is becoming an estate that is overseen by lawyers that have been appointed by the court, and their job is to look out for the interest of TSR. And that does mean, in the very language of the recommendation by the trustee, the bankruptcy trustee, to the bankruptcy judge, the very language that there was a possibility that people have committed fraud or negligence, and the estate should have somebody looking out for their interests to maybe go after those individuals, whoever they may be, whoever was working at TSR that could have done negligence. We're not specifying any particular individual, but somebody. The suspicion is somebody at TSR who was working there did negligence and or fraud, and the estate should be able to sue them for, reparations, obviously. So these lawyers are overseeing it, and they have said, we want no part in these lawsuits. TSR has been withdrawn from the lawsuits. And that unshackles the hands of WotC. And that means, the second implication means, cry havoc and release the lawyers of WotC. WotC's back, baby, and they're back with a vengeance. They're back with a silver bullet. Now, that's the first implication here concerning WotC. There's another implication. Let me see. Is this the thing? To Wizards' knowledge, these are so. I very carefully read this statement now, and I've selected this one little statement here because this very much refers to Don Samora. When you read that whole statement, it smells like, it feels like, it seems to have the fingerprints of the WotC lawyers all over it, because you read it, you say, wow, this bankruptcy judge, they're really up on the WotC. They really understand what's going on. They really understand how, the witness intimidation and harassing activities that have been going on with Don Samora. And I suspect, I do not know, I'm not part of the legal counsel team over at WotC. But I suspect, and I suspect this because I've seen this in action before, where lawyers will craft a motion for the judge. They'll say, Judge, we would like you we urge you to move in this manner, and here's the reasons why, A, B, C, D, E. And, for your convenience, we've already crafted. You don't have to use it. We're just trying to be helpful. We've already written out the motion that you could just sign if you wanted to, or, maybe use this as a template, type of thing. And so I've seen this done before, and I just have a feeling that somehow, some way, WotC's got its fingerprints on this. There's no way this judge would be that up on what's going on in the WotC case. It's mind-boggling. Or the judge was simply paying attention to the motion written by WotC. I don't know what it is, but it smells like WotC's got its fingerprints on it here. And so that's when you see this statement. It says, to Wizard's knowledge, these harassing activities, the witness intimidation that was going on by Justin Lanassa ceased when a certain order was put in place in the WotC case. They ceased for some time in compliance with the protective order. However, when the debtor filed for bankruptcy on June 8th, 2023, the perpetrators of the witness intimidation and harassment, they do not specify who, but the perpetrators of the harassment allegedly resumed their behavior. We don't know who. We're not saying anybody in particular. There's an implication there. Allegedly, the harassment has returned. So the other implication here is, if it is true, if I am correct in my belief that this document right here was influenced, it's got some fingerprints on it from the WotC lawyers. If I am correct in that, it's really very tightly focused on the witness intimidation and harassment that Don Samora has endured. Now, for Don, this has got to be very validating. It's got to be super validating for Don. But there's another implication. If I'm correct, there are some WotC fingerprints here on this thing that they really very strongly put in the language of their motion to the judge, or they even did the whole, hey, Your Honor, just to save you some time, we've prepped an order you could sign. You don't have to. We're just trying to be helpful. If they did that, or, they just use very strong language and the judge happened to be paying attention and he's now included that into this, it indicates to me a focus on WotC's part. It says that WotC is focused on this witness intimidation, this witness harassment. What does that mean? That means that I think we can expect a contempt charge coming out of Washington State. So, the WotC lawyers do not confide with me. They do not consult with me. They do not feed me any information. The alleged payroll that Luke runs for WotC and has me on, I've not seen one dime. Luke, where's my money? Okay, dude, according to Justin, you're the paymaster, you're the bag man carrying the money for WotC, and I've not seen my money. I'm being facetious. So, nobody talks to me about this, but I just suspect I just have a strong feeling, could be wrong. I've been wrong before, not afraid to admit it. Like my last video covering this, I might have rushed to judgment. I might have rushed to do the video, and I'm going to have to rush in the future because clearly Erik's back, baby. Erik's back with a vengeance. I I can't wait for him to really do a good video. I really, really, really can't wait. And he's going to be doing one soon, I suspect. But you know, I might have rushed on the previous video, but I'm telling you on this one, the implication of this document very strongly suggests to me that WotC is focused on the witness intimidation. And if they are, that means I think we're going to see a contempt charge. We're going to see them urge the judge to, they're going to file a contempt charge against the other party, the Lanassa parties, as they're referred to in this. And I think that is what our next thing is going to be. Now, sometimes if you're pushing a rock up a hill, it's heavy and it takes a lot of work and you despair of getting to the, but when you crest the top of the hill, suddenly now gravity is working in your favor. That rock's going to pick up steam. Or like say you were out back here with the chainsaw clearing the lot. A lot of trees got to get knocked down. You've got all your pants tucked into your boots so you don't get any ticks, you know, gloves buttoned up, you know, no ticks, and you're working and it's hot and sweaty and it just feels like this is a tough job and it's going to take forever. At a certain point, you've cut down the biggest trees and it's just small trees that you're going to go through fast with the chainsaw. It feels like you're going downhill. I do believe that this case, with all three of these cases, we've reached that tipping point where suddenly there's a certain amount of gravity now working and things are going to pick up steam. I knew that we turned the corner when Justin filed for bankruptcy. I knew that was the turning of the corner because that was definitely taking things out of his hands. I absolutely knew that. But I think now this is the moment where things have crested the hill and are going to be picking up steam. The snowball, you're trying to build a big snowman. You got this big snowball. Suddenly gravity's pulling it and it's getting bigger and bigger and it's going downhill and it's going to smash into somebody. I don't think it's going to smash into Dawn. It's not going to smash into Erik. It's going to smash into somebody. It's going to get smashed by that snowball. And that's, I think, where we're at, that you can expect charges being filed in the WotC case. I think you can expect ultimately a dismissal in the libel case. London bridges are falling down. They're falling down on somebody's head. And, you know, it's just reached that point. The tipping point has been reached. And WotC's back. Erik's back. Contempt charges are I think contempt charges are being focused on at WotC. And I think if you read this document, what this document really says is WotC's about to get jiggy with it. That's what's about to happen. WotC is going to be getting jiggy with it. And I think we're going to see some fireworks. So thanks for watching the video. This is Tom with your update. And oh, you know what? The other day, OGGM gave me a great shout out on his channel. He said, hey, if you want to know what's going on with the WotC case, he says, Tom's the guy. And I just want to say thank you to OGGM for the shout out. Thank you so much. You know, love your channel. Appreciate that. But you know what? You know, I might be the guy for doing a vlog on it. And partly I've felt an obligation to step into the breach while Erik's hands were tied. But Erik's back, baby. Erik's coming back. And that court case is crumbling. So I felt an obligation to be here, to stand in the breach, to be the one to make up the gap. And so that's what I have done because of Erik having his hands shackled. But I also want to point out that I could not do the reporting I do without the support of others. Those other people are namely Kim Winson and David Floor. And David Floor has inevitably every time alerted me to the fact something new in Pacer. And you download it, and you're like, oh, geez, thanks, David. Thanks for being on top of this. David is so on top of this, and I know he does a lot of his reporting on X or Twitter or whatever the hell you want to call it these days. And Winston too. And then I think both of them are on N-World, and they do a lot of their reporting there. I post a little bit on N-World, but these guys have done superhuman effort in helping us understand what's going on with the court case and alerting us to new developments. And thank you very much. So big shout out to Kim Winson, David Floor. Without them, my reporting would be half as good. Seriously. So credit where credit's due. Kim Winson, David Floor, they deserve the shout out. Again, they're largely on Twitter. They're largely on N-World. I'm more of the vlogger. I like to talk, right? The good wife calls me a chatty Cathy. Sorry. My vice is my virtue. So this is Tom for Tabletop Tap Room, with special thanks to OGGM for a great shout out. Appreciate it, dude. Special thanks to David Floor and Kim Winson. Seriously, owe a lot to these guys. So thank you, and credit to where credit is due. And I would not be half as good without other people, poking me and pointing me in the right direction. So thank you guys. You guys are great. This is Tom for Tabletop Tap Room. Thanks for watching. Thanks to my subscriber. You guys are great. And keep on gaming. And just remember, WotC is about WotC's lawyers. Specify it that way. WotC's lawyers are about to get jiggy with it. That's what I think. WotC's back, baby. And they're getting jiggy with it.